Hello, my name is Mina Sedrak. I'm a medical oncologist at UCLA. I'm an associate professor of medicine, and I'm the director of the Cancer and Aging Research Program. I also help co-lead the Cancer Control and Survivorship Program in the UCLA Jonsson Comprehensive Cancer Center. I started my career out in St. Louis, Missouri, where I grew up, and moved to Chicago, where I did my undergrad, and then went to the University of Pennsylvania for my residency and fellowship. After finishing my fellowship at the University of Pennsylvania, I started working at City of Hope, where I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Harutyunyan, a pioneer in the field of geriatric oncology. It was there that I started learning about the importance and the lack of data to support the care for older adults with cancer, and began working with her mentorship in the area of geriatric oncology. I was at City of Hope for about 8 years before I took a job here, recruited at UCLA. My research is at the interface of cancer and aging. Specifically, I study how cancer and cancer treatment accelerate biological aging, and I develop interventions to test different pharmacological and behavioral intervention that target biological aging and prevent and reduce the accelerated effects of chemotherapy. We also have a very robust survivorship program here at UCLA, where we have a nurse practitioner-led program that sees our patients in survivorship and supports them throughout their journey beyond just their cancer diagnosis, but to ensure that they are thriving after their cancer diagnosis. We've done some work trying to understand how can we better improve the care of older patients with breast cancer. Specifically, we have a lot of older women that are diagnosed with breast cancer who may have high-risk disease, and the question of whether or not they proceed on neoadjuvant or adjuvant chemotherapy is a challenging one. Through the Cancer and Aging Research Group, we worked to develop a risk prediction model where we looked at women over the age of 65 who had early stage breast cancer and were going to get neoadjuvant or adjuvant chemotherapy. We used this cohort, multinational cohort, to develop a tool that can identify which woman is at risk of grade 3 to 5 chemotherapy toxicity. This score, which is called the Cancer and Aging Research Group BC Breast Cancer Score, or the CARG BC score, is now widely available. It's been validated and is used by many practitioners to help identify which women are at risk of toxicity and to develop ways in reducing that toxicity, either through shared decision-making about the risks and benefit of chemotherapy in an old age, as well as using supportive care intervention early on, before, during, and after chemotherapy treatment for this population. And cancer is a disease of aging. The majority of patients that are diagnosed with cancer are over the age of 65. And the majority of death from cancer occurs in people over the age of 70. And as the population gets older and people are living longer, we're going to see a huge increase in the number of older adults who are living with and surviving cancer. I think the problem is that the data that we have oftentimes excludes older adults. Older adults are severely underrepresented from cancer clinical research. And as a result, we know very little about how best to care for this population. In fact, when we go to the national meetings and we hear about the new drugs and the new investigation, if you look at the number of people over the age of 70 or 75 on these studies, it's on the order of 5 to 10%. Even though when you look at the number of people who are 70 or 75 who have this cancer, they constitute 40 to almost 50% of that population. So there's this discrepancy between the people we see in clinic and the people we see on the clinical trials. And so the doctors, the clinicians, they don't have the data to make the best treatment decisions for our patients. And so I think it's going to be very important as we think about the future of oncology to think about the shifting demographic of our population and to make sure that older adults are represented in clinical trials, that they have a seat at the table when we are designing trials from the very beginning, from phase 1 all the way through phase 4 and post-marketing data. So I think that the field of geriatric oncology is one of the fastest growing and one of the most important fields in our community and represents a field that we really need to pay attention to because it is the population of patients that we're seeing in the clinics. So we work closely with multiple different institutions. We have a very strong collaboration with the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute, where we work with Dr. Rachel Friedman, and she has an older adult survivorship program. We also work with Dr. Allison Magnuson at the University of Rochester, and we collaborate very closely with Dr. Hyman Muss at UNC. We have several studies now where we are testing senolytics, which are novel small molecule agents that target cellular processes of aging. And we're seeing if we can reduce or reverse some of the functional decline and the fatigue that occurs after chemotherapy for women with early stage breast cancer who are cured of their breast cancer but develop that persistent constant fatigue that we would like to alleviate and prevent the onset of functional decline and physical frailty. I've had the fortune of recently receiving the Young Investigator Award from the King Hussein Cancer Research Award at the ceremony in Amman, Jordan. And it was such an honor to receive this award from Princess Gila. And it's been a huge, important aspect for me because I was born and raised in Egypt, and my family moved here when I was 10 years old, and my parents sacrificed a lot for me to be here. My mom and dad were teachers back home, and when they came here, they were washing dishes and working in a daycare, and so they really struggled and gave up a lot for me and my sister to have a better life. And because of the sacrifices they've made, I was able to go on and get my degrees and go on and become a physician and an oncologist. And now I want to pay that forward by helping serve the individuals, the scientists and the researchers and the patients in the Arab world. And that's what this award recognizes, is the opportunity of doing cancer research and being able to give back to communities that are underserved and have very limited resources. For young trainees, the best advice that I would say is it is one of the best professions that we have. There's not a lot of jobs out there where you can hold a patient's hand and provide comfort and support for someone going through one of the most difficult times in their lives. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to grow in this field. It is constantly evolving. The science is moving fast, but the care of it is also evolving with more supportive care, early detection, and advances in therapeutics. So I think that as we think about it, I think this is a great field to get into, and I would highly encourage all the young people to consider it. I think the most important thing is to have support outside of work. And so I have a family, my wife and my 3 kids and my parents who really help keep me grounded. And even on the worst day ever, when I get to go home, I get to be with them. And I'm reminded that the health that we have and the love that we have is something very special. And we have to live every day like it's the last day. And so I try to keep my perspective positive, and I try to stay grounded with my family support. I am learning about OncoDaily. I'm relatively new to it, but I've been so impressed by the professionalism and the support that the group has. They are very professional. They're very supportive. They are on top of all the high-level data, and they are very good at ensuring that the information that we serve is not just done within the walls of our research laboratory. It's about dissemination. And leveraging social media and the new technology to be able to disseminate that information from the New England Journal of Medicine paper or the JCO paper and bringing it to doctors in the community and the clinic and across the world, not just in the United States, is a really important thing that I think I have learned that OncoDaily has really been doing great at, and something I just think that we all need to do more of.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to OncoDaily on YouTube. Hit the bell icon to stay updated.